What would I die for? The life force resting at the essence of my core. I don't recall applying it for no college job.
So I'm just going to go through some texting on a girl that I went on a date with. So this was a girl that I approached in London. I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was in Knightsbridge, sort of near Harrods. And it's one of those ones where she's kind of leaving quite soon, but still at least enough time to actually meet her again. So yeah, just going to kind of quickly just sort of go through that stuff really. So yeah, so right off the bat, I'm pretty much just texting her standard opener. So this is something that I just use a lot of the time. It's quite sort of generic really, but it does work, you know, reasonably well. It's good if in like the opening text that if you can sort of reference something memorable from the conversation, then that is kind of a good thing to do. But the thing is that when you do this a lot of the stuff is just you're just not gonna remember anything, or you know, at the end of the day you just can't be bothered to think of something, and that's, you know, that's fair enough, and that's where you know, generic messages can come in handy, because I know that I don't always want to spend so much time and energy and sort of brain power just to, you know, at the end of the day just, you know, texting girls. It's just kind of annoying. But anyway, yeah, so I just go with this sort of generic opener. It's you know, it's tried and tested, it's fine, you know, it works reasonably well. So she just replies with hi. So it's a very kind of low investment message back. And you might just think that, oh shit, well, maybe she's not that interested. But it's just that, you know, sometimes some people are just not that verbose. And yeah, don't necessarily think of it as like she's not interested, because the fact is that she's texting you back. You know, if she's texting you back, you just have to assume interest, because it's very, 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 very easy and common nowadays just to kind of ghost people, you know, online, on texting. So if a girl's texting you back, then you just have to assume interest. So yeah, so this is basically a girl who's kind of like a solo tourist. Actually, I think she was with friends, but when I met her, she was by herself. So yeah, I just asked her a simple question, also because her English wasn't really that good, and I think she was actually translating some of these messages as well. So I just keep it simple. Just remember, if there's a bit of a language barrier, you just want to keep things simple. Very, very basic conversation. Don't overcomplicate anything. Don't need to have an elaborate conversation. Just keep it super simple. So yeah, so I just say, yeah, did you enjoy exploring London? Just keep it simple. So yeah, she says, yes, London's beautiful. It would be amazing if you follow me. Okay, so that's kind of a weird statement. I don't know what she means by that. I don't know if she literally wants me to be a stalker, if she wants me to follow her on Instagram, or if she literally just wants me to follow her like a little poodle. But yeah, anyway, it's most likely a sort of translation error, or maybe it's like sometimes when you translate from a certain language, like the literal translation ends up being a bit weird, so it's probably something like that. But anyway, I just assume interest, you know, I'm not like playing around with it like I would normally. Because of the language barrier, I just say, yes, we should arrange that. And then I just say, I have a question for you, just to sort of, you know, build a bit of investment and make it a bit more interesting. She says, yes, what question? Are you always so friendly when we met, or I just caught you at a good time? So this is quite a nice message I like to say sometimes, because it's just intriguing, it's engaging, it gets her thinking, okay, he approached me. When you're talking about characteristics about the girl, that's always very, very powerful, you know, when you can sort of make reference to that. So yeah, so I'm basically, you know, just kind of shifting the topic about her being friendly, you know, when we met. And then she just says, yes, I love meeting you. We could have talked more. Then I went to the nearby church, whatever. And yeah, so I just keep it simple. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I should show you the real authentic London experience. So yeah, that can be interpreted in multiple ways, obviously, but yeah, it's just a statement. You want to be like subtle, you know, generally in my opinion, before you're on a date with a girl, and even actually on a date, you want to be like relatively subtle most of the time. So yeah, you know, I should show you the real authentic London. That's like, that can be, you know, that can be interpreted in so many different ways. And it's just a good way to sort of push things more forward, really, because I'm trying to obviously get her out on a date, and so her experiencing an authentic London experience, then that's, you know, part of that experience, you know. But yeah, then I just, you kind of have to do things a little bit quickly in terms of figuring out logistics, because here I knew she was leaving London quite soon, but I couldn't remember the exact day, so that's something I needed to ask her quite quickly. So this is like the the day after, I think. Oh no, actually no, this is the same evening of the initial time when I first texted her. So I'm asking her which day exactly is she leaving London. So yeah, so she's basically saying it'll be great to meet you in your company. I'll be here until Sunday. So yeah, she's basically agreeing, to meet up again. So that's always good. And then it's just literally just a case of just figuring out logistics at this point. Yeah, we can meet on Friday or Saturday. What time is your flight on Sunday? Yeah, you leave on Sunday. Yes. Maybe we'll go out Saturday afternoon, maybe, winky face. So yeah, it's a positive sign. Okay, sounds good. And then, so now I've got a few days of just having to sort of text her until we're actually going to meet. That can be a little bit annoying actually, but it is quite normal, So you normally have to sort of, you'll meet on a particular day, and then there's a few sort of days in between that. I think it's good to sort of still text during those days. You don't want to like kill the momentum. That's a bit of a mistake, I think. If you say, yeah, let's meet on Saturday and it's Tuesday or whatever, and then you've got a few days in between, definitely you want to keep sort of texting, just keep building rapport, keep it going basically. Nice, you seen anything nice? Yeah, so many museums. Nice, I saw Buckingham Palace is the most famous one. You must have seen this one. So yeah, just keeping it simple, fairly basic, platonic, that's fine. Yeah, so then we're talking a bit about, the places that she's been to and stuff like that. Talking about, Buckingham Palace is obviously, a very sort of common tourist attraction. So then I just sort of spike up the conversation a bit and I say, when I become King of England, I will invite you to see the inside of the palace, So this kind of language is quite good to do as and when you can. But when there's a language barrier, she didn't even like respond to that. She just reacts with a smiley face, and that's fine. Sometimes, as I say, like, don't always expect something back. Doesn't mean she's not interested. Sometimes it's just different cultures, and sometimes just a bit of a language barrier. When it comes to actually meeting, I always try to confirm. Normally I do it just on the actual day, but because there was a few days in between with this particular one, I try to do it like just still confirming the day before, because I like to make plans, and if she decided to change her mind or she's still not available the following day, then of course I'd need to figure out my day as well. So yeah, if there's a few days gap, then I'll always try to sort of confirm the day before, as well as probably on the day itself. So here, I just say, yes, of course, are you okay to meet tomorrow? Yes, we can meet, of course, if you want to. Okay, let's meet tomorrow at 5 p.m, Green Park. Okay, see you tomorrow. And that's it, really. So just keep it simple. When there's a bit of a language barrier, you don't need to do too much, because normally I'd go a bit harder with the texting. But the thing with the texting, of course, the main thing is you just want to kind of get her out on a date. That's the main sort of idea with it, really. Me personally, I don't like to spend ages and ages and ages texting with a girl, just because it's just such a time sink, Especially if you're doing this regularly, you're going to be getting a lot of leads, and you are going to be like texting girls a lot. And that time can really, really add up, especially when you're sort of thinking of things to say or trying to be clever. And nowadays, I just don't have the patience for that anymore. Like, I put not too much effort in, and it's still okay, because really, like with the texting, it really should just be an extension of the day game interaction. So in other words, find out a bit more about her. Do a bit more of the attraction stuff, little sprinkles of flirtiness here and there, spiking up the conversation as and when you can, and just finding out interesting stuff about each other, and then just figure out logistics and then just see the date. That's it, simple as that, really. That's what I recommend. I recommend a little bit of a back and forth for like a couple of days or a few days. And then just get the date sorted, because normally say for example if I initially meet the girl on a Saturday and then I want to bring her out take her out next Saturday out on a date, then obviously I'd text her on that Saturday, and then still text on the Sunday, and then probably ask her out on the Monday, maybe the Tuesday, depending on how frequently she texts back herself. And then then there's a few days in between where you've got to sort of text a little bit, now and again. I'm not like always texting. As I say, I don't want to spend all day texting. So like, I'll only text maybe 2 or 3 times a day with a girl, and that's it. I'm not really going to do more than that. I'd only ever really do more than that if the girl's really on a sort of tight time frame, she's leaving or whatever, or if I'm leaving myself. Just kind of sometimes you have to adapt a little bit, depending on the circumstances. And in this case, I had to adapt a little bit with the sort of language barrier, really.
Thanks for watching. If you want to be able to do what you see me do in these videos, head over to my online course, which covers pretty much everything you need to know about daygame to get to a good level and actually implement it in a manageable way. Link is in the description.